ML Sports Platter is back with you, and yes, we have brought him back, the Batavia Downs Western OTB Director of Marketing, Ryan Hasenauer, on the show. We texted about when to come on because my man was in Hawaii. He's coming back on Friday last week. I mean, you know what? I'm going to be a good sport here and go, dude, let's do something a little different and just recap a race, recap your trip, and we'll tease some Belmont. I don't even know what you're doing sleep-wise, but Ryan, you're on my show, and I'm so grateful, buddy. How are you?
Appreciate it so much, Mike, making the accommodations. Yeah, we got back at 3 in the afternoon on Friday, and didn't get a lot of sleep on that red eye coming back. And then we were like, all right, I'm going to go back to work tomorrow. We had our Tacos and Tequila Festival, which was very well attended.
Got to take a shot when you get home.
Yeah, so 275 people were at our Tacos and Tequila Preakness Festival on Saturday. They got to see a great race, and just trying to process everything that went on that trip. It was a trip of a lifetime. I took my wife for her 40th birthday. We brought our 9-year-old son, and man, did we have a lot of fun. If you've never been and you can make the trip, stay on Oahu, stay on that island. And then, there's so many things to do on that island, like the Dole Plantation, where they got Jurassic World. You can visit the movie set and all that other good stuff. And then you can take a day trip, just hop on a plane in the morning like we did. And we went over to the Big Island to go to the Volcano National Park. You see the steam vents, you see the sulfur stuff, the lava tubes where the lava has been. And then got to see sea turtles, Mike. I got to be 2 feet from actual live wild sea turtles.
Big ones too.
Big ones on a black beach. It was incredible. So definitely the trip of a lifetime, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, you got it in a small space. I know a lot of people who do Hawaii, you have to do it 2 weeks because the travel is so hard and it's so long, but you got it in there quick, just like Seize the Gray. Got it in there quick, but he was quick in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end, and he was wire to wire. What a win. I know you saw plenty of the Preakness, and no Triple Crown this year. We're going to get to that, though, at the third topic. But how about this race? Recap it for me with Seize the Gray. By the way, I picked the winner. I don't bet, but I picked the winner. I blasted text to my buddies. I said, Seize the Gray. I'm feeling my man, Arrowgate, his dad, fastest horse race I've ever seen in person at the Travers. Go Seize the Gray, baby. And he's a beautiful, beautiful horse. So I picked it finally.
Well, Arrowgate, his dad, great horse, as you mentioned. And I'm kind of kicking myself a little bit because, I did my research. They emailed me the program when it came out and I did my stuff. But when I put my bets out on Twitter and I put my, people were calling and texting me and like, who do you like? Who do you like? I personally didn't like Mystic Dan to win this race because I didn't think that not that he wouldn't have the legs to do it because we saw this is a shorter race than the Derby was, but that he had previously bad experience racing on 2 weeks rest.
Correct.
Finished 5th last time. So I said, well, I'm going to include him in my exotic bets, but I don't necessarily think he's going to win. There was a lot of hype about the number 2 horse, Uncle Heavy. There was a lot of Tuscan Gold had a lot of backers as well. When Muth scratched, then it was all up in the air. So I did not include Seize the Gray on a lot of my bets because I just didn't think he was going to be there. And I certainly, quite frankly, didn't have him on top. So that kind of didn't work out for me in terms of, winning any money on the Preakness. So maybe it's best that I wasn't here to tell your listeners not bet on Seize the Gray. Although they would have heard you pick it. And so then maybe they would have made that selection. But, he ran a great race, like you said, wire to wire. And this is the only race where you can really do that is right. Wire to wire. There has been horses that have done it in the Derby, but those were really special horses that did it. And I said something to some of my coworkers and I were watching it here at Batavia Downs at the Preakness party. It was good all day. The track was good all day. And then all of a sudden before this race, it went muddy. And I was like, all right, that isn't necessarily going to change a lot of what I bet because the horses that I had in my bets were also horses that had done well on the muddy tracks and sloppy tracks. But, there's that old adage, you bet a gray horse on a gray day. So it came true this one time here. But, he had great breeding. He got a great start. He got to the front. I was thinking that the 9 horse was going to also kind of give him a run for his money there. The 2 of them would be battling with maybe some fast fractions, get them tired out, and then those closers like Catching Freedom and whatever would catch them. But I don't think the fractions were that fast, because of the muddy track. And also, it's even harder to catch the front runners, Mike, on a muddy track because there's so much stuff that's getting kicked up by these giant creatures. Yes. And, you see these jockeys, they got like 7 or 8 pairs of goggles. And so it's just like, all right, through the first turn, there goes the first goggles, second goggles, third goggles, fourth goggles while they're racing. And so by the end, you've got a whole pile of muddy goggles up here, and hopefully you're there as the winner. But it was a great race. It was great to see, Listic Dan, boy, he finished second. He almost made it. Maybe if it was as long as the Kentucky Derby, maybe he would have had it in that last 16th. I don't know if Seize the Gray would have had him, but it's so great to see Mystic Dan finish second. I think he is a special racehorse. I think I haven't heard if he's going to race in the Belmont, but I hope he does, because I think and I hope that Seize the Gray does too, because then you kind of have that rubber match, right? Where the two of them race one more time to see who, if either of them win, they won the series, if you will. So,
yeah. And you bring up the goggles. It's insane how great these jockeys are from an athletic standpoint. The logistic part, the athleticism, how small they are on these massive animals. And because they're so elite and amazing, I also think that it's so cool that you can get so close to them in the sport at all these races. You can watch a race at Saratoga or a Belmont, walk right down with a photo, and boom, they'll sign for you. You can't do that with Tom Brady. You can't do that with Patrick Mahomes or Connor McDavid. You can't do that with Mookie Betts. You can't. And it's right after, by the way, the race. And you take all those things in. That's just one of 1,000 things that makes the sport so special. By the way, Tuscan Gold with Chad Brown, interesting there, because he owns that Preakness situation, resting a horse the proper way. You think of early voting and a couple others. He's done it before. That's why that was a popular pick among many, including me at first. And I said, I'm going to go Seize the Gray. I also like the name Seize the Gray. So speaking of the Belmont, shortening the Belmont, I went into this. I pissed off some of my friends, but I told them, I said, look, I don't want a Triple Crown this year. I don't want it, because I don't want to have to deal with the talk if Mystic Dan were to have won the triple. Well, the Belmont was short. Is it a true one? Is it not? The asterisk, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with the nonsense. And they didn't have to shorten it. But Ryan, the truth of the matter is that would have been the number one discussion, like it or not. And I'm glad that there isn't a Triple Crown, so we don't have to deal with it. Call me negative, call me whatever you want. That's my take.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Like, obviously as an OTB guy, I think we'd rather have a Triple Crown possibility, because that it always gets more press on it.
Sure.
But even then, the bad, or not bad press, but the press that would have been like the controversy of, they shortened the race, that is probably also not a bad thing, because it's getting more people to talk about it too. But as long as both these horses still race in the Belmont, there's still that talk of like who's going to win the rubber match. It's great, but I still think too this is going to get a lot of press because it's at Saratoga, and it's not. It's a very cool place. You've been to Saratoga many times. I've only been once. I was lucky enough to go in 2019 with my dad that summer. And like you said, the accessibility of these folks, obviously they don't want you messing with the horses or anything, but they walk through the paddock. They walk through that big long line through like everybody. And you talk to the jockeys. Then you're supposed to talk to them afterwards. But there's not another sport where there's that much accessibility, unless it's like a small niche sport where, part of the community. But
you're 5 feet from American Pharoah.
Horse TV, it's super popular.
Yeah.
Hours. Yeah, I think that one of the things that is, tough going for horse racing right now, and we're trying our best at OTB, having these how to bet events where we're going out to a local OTB, we're blasting out, hey, you can make reservations, email me at my email address. And, we had one right before the Derby on that Wednesday before the Derby, and I had 8 or 9 people show up. We taught them how to read a program, taught them how to make a bet. Most of them had made a bet before, frankly, but a lot of them didn't know how to read a program, which was kind of important. So we go through the Derby program and say, all right, we're going to do this. But also that night, we're having them race at, I think, Turf Paradise or someone was racing, and we're teaching them how to read a program for that night's races. And we made some bets on those too, which was a good time. So, we're doing our best to kind of get people included in this. And anybody who knows that the history of Saratoga knows that it's going to get a lot of press, and that's going to be a good thing for horse racing. The other thing that's interesting, getting back to the winner of Seize the Gray, Mike, he was one of the My Racehorse horses. So Seize the Gray's got thousands of owners. He doesn't have just like one sheik or some, storied, one of these farms that has like all these Triple Crown champions.
Like the Green Bay Packers.
Like Green Bay Packers, exactly. So, I did see one take, which I thought was completely insane. Somebody posted on Twitter and said, hope you guys enjoy having, that one piece of that racehorse. It's not like that one piece as an owner can get you into the paddock, because I think you have to have a certain percentage of the horse to get those passes to get into the backstretch or to get into the areas that real owners actually get to in an owner's box, stuff like that. But he was saying that like it's like a sucker's thing to do, and it's just so silly. And like you could have taken the $125 that you bet on Seize that you bet that you gave to own a piece of Seize the Gray. You could have bet that 125 as a win bet on Seize the Gray, and you would have come up with more money than you made, because I think all the owners out of the 60% of $2 million all got paid $40-50 or whatever it was. But that take is so wrong, because Mike, anything that gets people interested in horse ownership or in horse racing in general is a good thing.
Yeah.
If I had the choice, honestly, I'm going to tell you this right now. If I had the choice of taking $125 and betting on Seize the Great to win and pocketing all that money, what did he? I don't even know off the top of my head what he paid. But taking that money, multiplying times 60 or whatever it would be, or saying to people, you know what? I own a piece of that horse that won the Preakness. I got to be honest with you, Mike. I would have taken the piece of the ownership of the horse and having that be something that I can say that I was a part of, that I was part of this collective that got to own this horse to do those things. I wasn't going to drive to Baltimore. I wasn't going to sit in the owner's box. I wasn't going to go in the back of the paddock. I wouldn't have had the credentials to do it, but I would still be able to say that I had a piece of that horse. So, I don't think it's a bad thing to be able to have a small piece of these horses. Anything that drives interest in our sport is important and is good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, unless it's like a few $100,000 though, right? And then you and I can kind of think about retiring.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking life-changing money, different story, I guess.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, if it's like just a little portion, compare like a 125 versus a 450 or 550, the coolness aspect to be able to throw. By the way, I'll close with this. I have a really good buddy of mine from high school whose friend from the military he lives in Wisconsin still, I think, and has the Packers certificate on his wall. And he spent, whatever amount, it was like $100, but he has it on, thank you for your part ownership of the Packers. Seriously, how cool is that? That coolness factor on your wall, like, please, there's nothing that beats that, man.
Absolutely. Being a part of something, even if it's just a small part, is it's still something that I think draws people to life's too short, man. Go have fun.
No doubt. Speaking of having fun, 1 minute or so, 90 seconds, do your thing on either if you can. Obviously, I know your mind's racing from the trip, but from the week that was upcoming, anything you want to do. I saw the videos, crazy at the concerts. Batavia Downs Gaming, Western OTB. Hit me quick with whatever you want for my listeners and viewers and what they need to know, because man, Batavia Downs Gaming has got it going on right now.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're out Mike's way or whether you're out my way or out Buffalo way, whatever it might be, BataviaConcerts.com is our website where we sell tickets for all of our upcoming events. You mentioned the concert series. It's going to start us up with Smash Mouth on June 21st. Can't wait. I'm going to be there. My wife and my son are coming. They sing all the great hits, and they have all the covers and everything. It's going to be great. But also, too, as you mentioned, in the near future here, we've got the Belmont Stakes, and we always, every year, this would be the 6th annual, it's the Belmont Stakes that we have in conjunction with our Bourbon and Whiskey Fest. So Bourbon and Whiskey Fest with Jack Daniels and Old Forester, they're going to be here. They're going to be doing, all the sampling. We have a bunch of other brands that do sampling. There'll be some small, like light fare, stuff for you to kind of snack on in between, drinking the whiskey and whatnot, and to get a $5 wager on the Belmont Stakes. So it's just a great time. We just are so excited to have everybody come out for these events. 205 people were here for the Preakness party. I'm anticipating at least that for the Bourbon Fest. Bourbon, a little more popular than tequila, obviously. So having people come out for that, but tickets are cheap. You get most of your money back in free play. And then you get a $5 wager on the Belmont, and you get to hang out and just have a good time on a day where, and again, this is the other thing that, no amount of internet betting or anything else can replace, is being in an area where something exciting is happening, whether it's a concert or whether it's a horse race, being where the thing you're interested in, even if it's just for that day, if you're a casual bettor, and being a part of a collective that watches, hey, this horse that we're all rooting for is going to win this race. It's something fun to be at, and so again, like I said, life is too short. Enjoy yourself responsibly, of course, and come out and just enjoy being at Batavia Downs with all these great events we have.
Yeah, no doubt. We love having Ryan Hasenauer on, of course, the marketing director for Batavia Downs Gaming and Western OTB. Stay and play. The cover bands are terrific out there as well. Visit BataviaDownsGaming.com and get to your local OTBs each and every day for all of the races, and the Belmont coming up as well. Saratoga not that far away. it's just an awesome time of year, and horse racing is such a big part of it. Ryan, I can't thank you enough for coming on, man. You've cleared the bleary eye. You look good. We'll talk here again in the weeks to come, my man. You know how much I appreciate you and the support from both groups, and we'll talk real soon. Hit the pillow, get some sleep, and we'll talk soon, man.
That was good, Mike. Thanks so much for the time.